What if the person holding you back the most is you? Not your boss, not your parents, not society, just you. Quietly, unconsciously, maybe even politely, but relentlessly. Every morning before the world gets a chance to reject you, your mind already does. It whispers doubts while you're still half asleep. It questions your worth before you even try. And the scariest part is, you believe it, you listen, not because you're weak, but because you've been trained to obey the voice that keeps you small, the one that says, play it safe, don't stand out, you're not ready. That voice sounds like reason, but it's fear, and it's winning. There's a war happening inside of you. But it's not loud. It doesn't throw punches. It delays, it distracts, it convinces you to wait just one more day. And every time you hesitate, it grows stronger. It's not always obvious. It doesn't always scream, I can't. Sometimes it says, maybe later. I'll figure it out tomorrow. Now's not the right time. And slowly, piece by piece, your confidence crumbles. Not because of failure, but because of silence. You're not being defeated by life. You're being outmaneuvered by your own mind. But here's what no one tells you. That voice isn't the truth. It's just familiar. And familiarity feels safe. That's how it tricks you. It makes you believe the safest option is to stay right where you are. But safety is the enemy of growth. You weren't born to repeat days. You weren't born to be comfortable. You were born to rise. And rising hurts. It's supposed to. Because breaking through means breaking down old patterns. The same ones that have kept you stuck. You might think you're not enough. You might think others have something you don't. But the difference between where you are and where you want to be isn't talent. It's a decision. A decision to stop negotiating with your excuses. A decision to stop letting fear dress itself up as logic. A decision to finally stand up and say, I'm done holding myself back. That's where the shift begins. That's when everything changes. And if you're still here, still listening, it means something inside you already knows. You're ready. Not ready in the perfect, polished, confident way you think you need to be. Ready in the, I'm tired of waiting kind of way. Ready in the, I can't live another year like this kind of way. That's more than enough. Because the moment you stop letting that inner enemy run the show, you take your power back. And once you take it back, nothing outside of you can stop you. Stay with this. Because what's coming next isn't just motivation, it's ammunition. For every doubt, for every fear, for every voice inside that ever told you to shrink. You're not losing to the world. You're not even losing to your circumstances. You're only losing to the version of you that refuses to try. And the good news? You don't have to listen to them anymore. You can choose to win, starting now. You've been taught to chase comfort like it's the goal, a quiet life, a safe path, no risks, no pain, no pressure. But comfort is not peace, it's a cage. It promises relief, but it delivers regret. You already know this. Deep down you feel it. That uncomfortable tension that comes when you settle for less than you're capable of. That dull ache inside when you scroll through life instead of living it. That's not laziness, that's your potential begging for a chance. But comfort is clever. It disguises itself as self-care, as rest, as being realistic. It convinces you that staying where you are is protecting you from failure. What it's really doing is protecting you from growth. Because growth is hard. It breaks routine. It demands energy. It brings up everything you've been trying to avoid. But here's the truth. The pain of growth is temporary. The pain of staying stuck, that lasts forever. You don't need to be told what to do. You already know. What you need is to break the addiction to ease. To stop asking for the path of least resistance. You're not here to avoid the fire. You're here to walk through it and come out stronger. And yes, it will hurt. It will stretch you. But the version of you that comes out on the other side, that version is unshakable. That version can't be faked. It can't be handed to you. You have to earn it. Step by step. Choice by choice. The life you want doesn't live inside your comfort zone. It lives in your courage zone. And courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing it anyway. Your mind will always try to pull you back to what feels safe. It's wired for survival, not success. But you're not just a brain. You're not just instincts. You're a soul with fire in it. A force. A creator. And the moment you stop settling for comfort, you remember who you are. Every breakthrough you've ever wanted is just past the edge of comfort. Every dream, every transformation, every victory. None of it waits for you in the familiar. It waits for you in the stretch, in the risk, in the effort you've been putting off. You don't have to leap. You just have to move. A little further, a little harder, a little braver. Because the cost of comfort is your future. The price you pay for avoiding hard things is watching your life shrink while your soul stays hungry. And if that doesn't scare you, it should. Because one day, the chances run out. One day, the window closes. But today, it's still open. And this moment, the one you're in right now, is your chance to break free from everything that has kept you small. You were not born for comfort. You were born to grow, to rise, to break limits. And that begins the moment you stop making comfort your home and start making it your enemy. The real enemy isn't what you see in the world. It's what you see in the mirror and believe. Because the mirror lies, not the glass, but the mind behind it. You don't just see your reflection. You see your history. Every failure, every mistake, every insecurity gets projected back at you. You look and remember who you used to be, what you didn't finish, where you fell short. That's not truth. That's a distorted image, filtered through old pain, and it keeps you trapped in a version of yourself that no longer exists. What you see is not who you are, it's who you've been. But the mind clings to familiarity, and if it's known failure longer than it's known victory, it will define you by it. This is how people stay small. Not because they lack talent, but because they trust a broken mirror, a mirror made of memories, fear, and false beliefs. And every day you accept that image, you act according to it. You shrink to fit it. You stay within the limits of a self that was never fully true to begin with. But that version of you, the hesitant one, the insecure one, the one still apologizing for things long gone, is not the only version that exists. There's another you, a deeper you, one that's buried under layers of fear but refuses to die. That voice inside that says, you were made for more, is real. That feeling that you're meant to become someone greater isn't fantasy, it's memory. A glimpse of who you were always meant to be, before the world told you to doubt it. To change your life, you must first change the image you trust. Not by ignoring your past, but by refusing to be owned by it. Yes, you've fallen. Yes, you've failed. Yes, you've been hurt. But none of those things define your worth. They only define your path. You are not the broken moments. You are the strength that got back up. You are the fire that never fully went out, even in your darkest nights. This is where power begins, not by looking outside for validation, but by changing what you see when you look within. Your reflection isn't finished. It's being shaped, moment by moment, decision by decision. And the more you act like the version of yourself you wish you were, the closer you become to it. Not because you're pretending, but because you're remembering. You were never weak. You were conditioned to believe you were. Today is the day to reclaim the mirror, to stop looking for flaws and start seeing potential. You've given enough time to doubt, enough years to fear. Now give yourself a chance to rise. Every time you challenge that image, every time you choose boldness over shame, you take back your power. The world changes when you change the way you see yourself. And that starts the moment you stop believing the lies and start building the truth. Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides behind logic, behind doubt, behind the illusion of being careful. It wears 1,000 masks. It tells you to wait. It tells you to plan more. It tells you to be cautious, to be realistic, to avoid the risk. But what it's really doing is keeping you quiet, keeping you small. It disguises itself as responsibility, but it's just resistance. And if you're not careful, you start listening to it like it's wisdom. Fear doesn't just show up when you're about to fail. It shows up when you're about to rise. Right before a breakthrough, it intensifies. Right before you speak up, take action, change direction, it tightens its grip. Not because you're on the wrong path, but because you're finally on the right one. That's how fear works. It increases when progress begins. It senses movement. And movement threatens the comfort zone it's been guarding for years. You think you're not ready because you feel nervous. You think you're not capable because you feel overwhelmed. But those feelings don't mean stop. They mean go. They mean you're doing something unfamiliar, something that matters, something that could actually change things. Your brain was built to keep you alive, not to make you exceptional. That part is on you. Greatness lives beyond survival. It lives where discomfort meets decision. The problem is never the fear itself. The problem is giving it authority, making it a reason instead of an obstacle, letting it speak louder than your desire to grow. That's the real loss, not the failure, not the rejection. The real loss is the life you never live, because you let fear convince you to wait for perfect conditions. But there's no perfect time. There's just now. And every time you hesitate, you train your mind to retreat. But every time you move through fear, no matter how small the step, you reclaim power. You rewire courage. You can't kill fear, but you can expose it. You can strip away the mask and see it for what it is, a protective reflex that no longer serves you. Because the truth is, you don't need more confidence to act. You need more action to build confidence. Courage isn't a feeling. It's a choice. You don't have to feel brave to do the thing, you just have to do the thing anyway. Stop waiting to not be scared. You might wait your whole life. Move with the fear, speak with the fear, build with the fear. Let it walk beside you, but don't let it drive. The more you act, the quieter it becomes. And one day, without realizing it, you'll wake up and do the thing that once terrified you like it's nothing. Because it is nothing. Compared to what you are, compared to what you're becoming. Fear may visit, but it doesn't get to stay. Not anymore. Not if you're serious about rising. There is a cost to every choice you avoid, every dream you postpone, every truth you silence, and that cost is time, time you never get back. You think staying still is safe, but it's not. It's slow destruction. The days blur, the spark fades, and the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to remember who you could have been. Growth doesn't ask for permission. It demands movement. And every time you choose comfort over challenge, you fall a little further from the life that once lit you up. You don't need more time. You need more truth. And the truth is, the longer you delay, the deeper the regret will cut. You know what that voice sounds like. I should have started sooner. I wish I pushed harder. What if I had just tried? Those aren't just words. They are wounds. Regret is the echo of potential abandoned. It doesn't scream. It haunts. And if you don't act, one day you'll look back and realize that all the limits you thought were real were just lies you believed. The future isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's being shaped by what you do now. In this moment, not tomorrow, not next year, now. The pain of discipline, of trying, of risking, it's nothing compared to the pain of wondering what could have been. People don't break because they fail. They break because they live in the space between who they are and who they know they were meant to be. You can feel that gap, that tension. It's not anxiety. It's your potential trying to wake you up. It's the fire you've buried under fear, under routine, under delay. You can ignore it, suppress it, distract yourself from it, but it doesn't go away. It waits. It waits for the moment you get honest, the moment you stop pretending that staying the same doesn't hurt, because it does, more than you admit, more than you show. You weren't made to coast. You weren't made to repeat the same cycle, the same excuses, the same days. You were made to move, to build, to rise. But that only happens when you stop lying to yourself about the cost of inaction, because you're already paying it. Every moment you delay, you pay in energy, in confidence, in joy. The life you want isn't running from you. You're standing still while it moves forward. So move, not perfectly, not fearlessly, just honestly, with everything you've got. Stop trying to figure out every step, just take one, let the rest unfold. Your future doesn't need you to be flawless, it needs you to show up, to care more about growth than comfort, to stop trading what you want most for what feels easy now. This is your wake-up call. You're not too late, you're just one decision away. One moment of courage, one refusal to settle. This is it, make it count. You don't rise by changing your life, you rise by changing your identity. Every action you take, every decision you make is driven by who you believe you are. If deep down you see yourself as someone who quits, someone who breaks under pressure, someone who never finishes, then no matter how hard you try, you will always fall back into that identity. You don't fail because you lack the ability. You fail because you haven't yet let go of the version of you that's tied to your past. You can't build a new life with the same mindset that built the old one. The breakthrough happens the moment you stop trying to improve the person you were and start becoming the person you've decided to be. That shift is everything. It's not about pretending. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing who you want to be and acting like it until it's no longer an act. Identity is not fixed. It's formed, and it's shaped by repeated action, repeated belief, repeated choices. If you see yourself as someone who always starts but never finishes, that becomes your truth. But the moment you say, I finish what I start, and you live that out, even in small ways, everything changes. You align your actions with the future, not the past. You stop dragging your old story into every new opportunity. You stop letting yesterday's limits define today's potential. Because you're not here to live in loops. You're here to evolve. The mind will try to pull you back to what's familiar. That's its job, to protect, to conserve, to repeat. But you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are the one who chooses whether or not to listen. And you can choose to step out of the old roles. The overthinker, the underachiever, the invisible one, the one who always gets close but never crosses the line. You can step out. You can rewrite it, not by magic, by decision. Start with one powerful truth: I am no longer who I used to be. Not because you've done something massive, but because you've decided to stop giving life to the old version. Every time you act in alignment with the person you're becoming, you cast a vote for that new identity. And those votes add up, until eventually, you don't have to force discipline. It's who you are. You don't have to chase greatness. It's where you live. This is not about faking confidence. It's about building character, becoming the kind of person who shows up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. You don't get what you want. You get what you are willing to become. And when you become it, everything around you begins to shift. The world starts to reflect the new you. But it starts from within. Who are you becoming right now? Decide, and then become it on purpose. Pain is not your enemy, it's your guide. It shows up when something needs to change, when something inside you is calling for more. Most people run from it, numb it, distract themselves. But pain is not here to punish you. It's here to point you toward your next breakthrough. When you stop avoiding it and start listening to it, it transforms. It becomes a compass, a teacher, a map. The discomfort you feel isn't weakness, it's awareness. It's the part of you that knows this life, this mindset, this level is no longer enough. You weren't meant to stay in emotional survival. You were meant to grow, and growth hurts. It breaks the version of you that settled, that shrank, that stayed quiet when everything inside was screaming for more. That version doesn't die easily. It clings. It resists. But every time you face the pain, you weaken its grip. What you've been through matters, but not in the way you think. It's not meant to define you. It's meant to refine you. The pain from your past carries answers. It holds patterns, truths, and lessons. And when you stop pretending it didn't affect you, when you stop burying it, you can finally extract the power it's been holding. You don't need to relive it. You need to respect it. Study it. Let it shape your strength, not your shame. You've survived things others will never understand. You've felt loss, rejection, confusion, emptiness, and you're still here, still breathing, still searching. That matters. That means you're not weak. You're capable of far more than you realize. Because real strength isn't loud. It's quiet. It's in the moments you kept going, when everything inside you begged you to stop. It's in the nights you didn't give up on yourself, even if no one else noticed. That is power. Raw, real power. And now, that pain has a purpose. It's not there to hold you back. It's there to remind you who you had to become just to get here. It's there to awaken the next level of your life. You don't need to fear it. You need to face it. Let it teach you. Let it break you open, not break you down. There's a difference. One leaves you stuck. The other leaves you stronger. Stop asking why it happened. Start asking what it taught you, what it built in you, what it revealed. The truth is, your pain gave you perspective. It gave you empathy. It gave you depth. And those are the exact tools you need to rise. Not in spite of your past, but because of it. You're not broken. You're becoming. And everything you've felt, everything you've endured, has shaped you into someone who can no longer live small. Someone who's ready. Someone who's done running from the fire and ready to walk through it. Because on the other side is everything you were born to be. The most dangerous lie is the one that tells you there's still time. That you can wait. That later is safer. That tomorrow will be easier. But someday is not a promise. It's a trap. A soft, quiet lie that keeps you stuck in hesitation while your potential slowly slips away. You tell yourself you're being patient, that you're preparing, but what you're really doing is stalling. Postponing your life for a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet. You don't need to be more ready. You don't need the perfect moment. What you need is to stop waiting for permission. Life doesn't hand out invitations. It doesn't come with a green light. The people who rise aren't the ones who had it all figured out. They're the ones who started when it was uncomfortable, when it was uncertain, when fear was screaming. They moved anyway, and that movement is what made them ready. The longer you wait, the louder your excuses become. They start to sound rational, practical, even responsible. But deep down you know. You feel the weight of what you're not doing, the quiet regret of knowing you could do more. Be more. That's not guilt. It's your calling trying to get your attention. It's the part of you that knows you're meant for more than this holding pattern of hesitation. You weren't given your dreams to bury them under doubt. You weren't born to coast through life in neutral. Every moment you delay is a moment you'll never get back. And one day, if you're not careful, you'll look back and realize you never ran out of chances. You just never took them. That realization breaks more people than failure ever could. There is no perfect season. There is only now. And now is messy. Now is uncertain. Now is raw. But now is powerful, because it's real. It's where change begins. It's where courage is built. It's where momentum is made. Waiting doesn't make you stronger. Starting does. Acting does. Choosing, even through the fear, is what shifts everything. You don't need to know how it all ends. You just need to stop letting fear write the beginning. Stop building a life on delays and what-ifs. Start building it on decision, on ownership, on the refusal to let the illusion of later steal what's possible now. Because there is no later, there's only you, right here, right now, deciding whether to continue waiting or to finally step in. This is your life, not a rehearsal, not a draft. The clock is moving. And so should you. You owe it to the future version of yourself, the one waiting on the other side of effort, sacrifice, and courage. They're not wondering why you failed. They're wondering why you waited. Give them an answer they can be proud of. Start now, before later becomes never. Excuses don't sound like lies. They sound like logic, like reason, like safety. But they're not protecting you. They're limiting you. Every excuse you've ever made felt true in the moment. You believed it. You told yourself it wasn't the right time, that you didn't have the resources, that things had to be more stable first. But none of that was the truth. It was fear, dressed as strategy. And fear is a master of disguise. It doesn't shout. It just quietly convinces you to stay exactly where you are. The mind is brilliant at self-preservation. It will build entire stories to justify your hesitation. It will stack evidence to support your doubt. It will replay every past mistake, every time you failed, every time things didn't work out, and it will package that up as proof that playing small is smart. But that isn't wisdom. That's programming. Programming built on past pain, not future possibility. And until you recognize it, you'll keep mistaking it for truth. Excuses aren't the enemy because they exist. They're the enemy because you obey them. You give them power with your inaction. You let them decide what you're capable of. But capability isn't about what's possible in theory. It's about what you're willing to challenge in reality. The mind will always find a reason not to try. You have to give it a bigger reason to move anyway. A reason tied to who you're becoming, not what you're avoiding. The longer you defend your limits, the more real they become. What you justify, you solidify. And what you allow, you repeat. You've told yourself the same story so many times you've started to believe it. But it's not a story. It's a script you can rewrite. You are not bound to your excuses. You are bound by your attachment to them. And once you detach, even slightly, you create space. Space for effort. Space for change. Space for a new outcome. Every time you override an excuse, no matter how small, you weaken the old identity that created it. You chip away at the version of yourself that doubts, that waits, that hides behind reasons. And you begin building the one who shows up, the one who leads with action, not emotion, the one who moves toward fear, not away from it. That version exists. But you don't become them by thinking, you become them by doing. You already know the excuse that's been holding you back. You know the sentence you repeat when the pressure builds, the phrase that feels true but keeps you small. Challenge it, tear it down, replace it. The moment you stop believing that excuse is the moment your future opens. Everything you want is on the other side of that lie, and you don't need permission to cross it, you just need to stop protecting it. Choose action over avoidance. Choose truth over fear. Choose freedom over the comfortable trap of your own reasons. No one is coming to save you. Not because people don't care, but because they can't fight the war inside your mind for you. No mentor, no friend, no system, no opportunity will ever be enough until you decide to be enough. You can wait for help. You can wait for validation. You can wait for a sign. But the truth is, everything you're waiting for is waiting on you. It always has been. And the longer you expect someone else to carry you, the longer you delay your own strength. There's a point in every life where the choice becomes clear, rise or remain, not because anyone tells you to, but because something inside refuses to stay asleep any longer. That moment is brutal, honest, uncomfortable. But it's also the moment you stop living in reaction and start leading your own transformation. Not with perfection, with ownership, with the kind of responsibility that doesn't make excuses or wait for rescue. It builds, it breaks through, it decides. You weren't made to be rescued. You were made to rise. You were made to rebuild yourself from the pieces no one else sees. To take everything you've been through and use it, not resent it. Because power doesn't come from ease. It comes from choice, from deciding that no matter who let you down, who didn't show up, who failed to see your worth, you will no longer fail to see it yourself. You've depended on motivation. You've looked outside for direction. You've tried to be inspired into action. But deep down you know, inspiration fades. Motivation fades. And what's left is the one person you can't escape, You. You are the one who decides what today becomes. You are the one who writes the next sentence in your story. No one else is coming to turn the page for you. No one else should. This isn't a punishment. It's the greatest truth you can accept. Because the moment you stop waiting to be saved, you begin becoming the version of yourself that doesn't need saving. You become the solution, the fire, the force, the leader of your own life. And when that switch flips, everything changes. The same situations, the same obstacles, the same voices. They no longer hold the same power. Because now, you are different. Now, you've chosen responsibility over reliance. You don't need someone to show you the way. You are the way. You don't need someone to tell you it's possible. You already know it is, and if you've forgotten, look at how far you've made it without everything you thought you needed. You've survived without guarantees. You've endured without applause. And now it's time to rise without anyone's permission. Stop waiting. Stop stalling. Stop expecting someone to give you what you were born to build. Everything you want begins the moment you stop hoping for a rescue and start becoming your own. This is your life. Own it. Lead it. Live it. No more waiting. You are not weak. You are wired. And what's been holding you back isn't a lack of strength. It's a system you've never been taught how to challenge. Your brain was built for survival, not success. It's designed to keep you safe, not fulfilled. That means it will resist change, avoid discomfort, and cling to anything familiar, even if that familiarity is misery. You are not broken. You're following a program. But the good news is, you can rewrite it. Every reaction, every habit, every limitation you've repeated was wired through repetition. And what's been repeated can be replaced. You don't need more discipline. You need to rewire your patterns, the thoughts you entertain, the emotions you allow to lead, the actions you take when no one's watching. These are not fixed traits. They're grooves in your mind that you've walked so many times they feel automatic, but they are not permanent. Change doesn't begin with willpower. It begins with awareness. Awareness of how often you give your power away to feelings you've mistaken for truth. You feel tired, so you stop. You feel doubt, so you wait. You feel fear, so you freeze. But feelings are not commands. They are signals. They are not there to control you. They are there to be questioned, to be challenged, to be understood and then outgrown. That's how you stop being a slave to your wiring and start becoming the architect of your life. The brain doesn't care about your goals. It cares about repetition, about what you do often, what you allow, what you say, what you believe. It builds from behavior. So if you want to change the way you feel, you have to change what you repeatedly do. If you want confidence, build consistency. If you want focus, eliminate noise. If you want to rise, act like the person who already has. Because the brain doesn't wait for proof, it builds on patterns. And you decide the pattern. You're not waiting for motivation. You're waiting for clarity. You want the path to feel natural. But nothing is natural until it's repeated. Nothing feels easy until it's built. The first time you push past your default, it feels wrong. It feels fake. That's not a sign to stop. That's the exact moment you're rewiring. That's the resistance that signals growth. Keep going. Every time you push back against the old code, you weaken it. And every time you act in alignment with who you want to become, you strengthen the new one. This is the truth no one told you. You are not stuck. You are conditioned. But conditioning can be broken. You are not powerless. You are programmable. And every moment you choose courage over comfort, focus over distraction, action over hesitation, you're writing the new script. You don't need to feel ready. You need to start anyway. That's how the new wiring begins. That's how the old version dies. One choice at a time. One pattern at a time. Until the real you finally takes over. You can't think your way into change. You have to act your way into it. Too often you wait for clarity, for the perfect plan, for the right time. But clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from it. The mind doesn't unlock its potential through overthinking. It unlocks through doing, through the repetition of deliberate steps even when you're unsure. Especially when you're unsure. Growth is never found in comfort. It's forged in motion, in persistence, in the decision to keep showing up when your feelings beg you to stop. Your life will never rise above the standards you settle for. And every time you say this is enough when it's not, you train yourself to shrink. You train yourself to tolerate a version of life that doesn't match the fire inside you. That internal war between who you are and who you pretend to be, that's where suffering grows. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're doing too little of what sets you on fire. You're exhausted from hiding your potential under habits that no longer serve your future. If you keep waiting to feel like it, you'll wait forever. Progress doesn't ask for your permission. It demands your presence. It demands that you take the first step even when the entire path is unclear. And the truth is, it will always be unclear. There is no map for becoming more than you've been. Only choices. Daily ones, quiet ones. The kind of choices that no one claps for, but that shape the entire direction of your life. You won't always see the result right away. And that's where most people stop. They confuse lack of speed with lack of progress. But transformation isn't loud. It's not instant. It builds in silence. It builds in the background, underneath the surface, until one day it breaks through, and so do you. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. The question is whether you'll stay long enough in the discomfort to find out. You don't need to do everything today. You just need to do something real, something that aligns with the future you want, not the comfort you're in. Your brain will resist. Your body will fight. But that's only because it's never seen this version of you before. It doesn't trust it yet. Show it, teach it, prove it wrong. Not through words, through repetition, through decisions, through relentless execution of the standard you promised yourself. You are closer than you think. Every small act compounds. Every small win matters. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't talent, time, or luck. It's consistency. It's discipline in the dark. It's doing what most won't for long enough to become what most never will. Don't wait for the path. Become it. Don't wish for a break. Become unbreakable. This is your moment. And it begins with one choice. Make it. Comfort is not peace. Comfort is a silent trap. It feels safe, but it keeps you small. It lulls you into routines that feel familiar but strip you of progress. You say you want change, but change doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in resistance, in discomfort, in the space where your excuses get louder and your will gets tested. That's where the transformation begins, when you stop seeking ease and start choosing challenge. You weren't built to coast, you were built to climb. The pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of regret is endless. One day, you'll look back and either be grateful you pushed or broken that you didn't. That's the truth most won't tell you. That you will either suffer for your dreams or suffer for abandoning them. There's no neutral path. There's no easy way out. Every step you don't take today becomes a weight you carry tomorrow. That's the cost of hesitation. That's the debt of avoidance. And it always comes due. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. You need to stop giving your energy to things that don't move you. You already know what drains you. You already know what steals your focus. It's not a mystery. It's a decision. You keep saying yes to what weakens you. You keep tolerating what slows you down. And every time you let the lesser voice win, the one that says rest when you should rise, that says later when you should start, you hand over your life one compromise at a time. You were not born to shrink. You were not designed to doubt. That voice inside that wants more, that's your truth trying to surface. And it's not wrong. It's not unreasonable. It's you, remembering who you were before the world convinced you to play it safe. That voice will get quieter the longer you ignore it. But it never disappears. It will haunt you until you answer it. Because deep down, you know this isn't all you're meant for. You don't need to do everything today, but you do need to stop hiding. Stop negotiating with fear. Stop rehearsing failure in your mind before you've even begun. You've survived worse than this moment. You've made it through storms that once felt impossible. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still able to begin again. That is your power. That is your proof. You don't need anyone's permission to rise. You just need to stop asking for it. Everything you want is on the other side of resistance. And that resistance isn't a wall, it's a signal. It means you're getting close. It means you're touching the edge of who you've been. Push further. Push harder. Let the discomfort shape you. Let the pressure refine you. You are not fragile. You are not finished. You are a force waiting to be claimed. Stop delaying. Start becoming. This is the version of you that refuses to quit. Let it take over. Let it lead. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack belief. Not in the world, not in the system, but in themselves. The war is never truly out there. It's always inside. It's the voice that whispers you're not enough. It's the doubt that creeps in when you're close to something bigger. It's the fear that rises when you're just about to step forward. That's what you're really fighting. Not the circumstances, not the setbacks. You're fighting the smallness within you that refuses to let go. You weren't born with limits. You were taught them. Somewhere along the way, you started believing what others said about you. You started accepting the labels, the judgments, the doubts, and now those words echo louder than your own. But they are not your truth. They are someone else's fear passed on to you. The question is, How long will you let borrowed limitations hold your life hostage? How long will you carry chains that were never yours to wear? Every dream, every goal, every version of greatness requires the same thing: identity shift. You cannot become more while staying the same. You cannot rise while clinging to the thoughts that held you down. Growth is not just action, it is rebirth. It is becoming someone who does not ask, but claims. Someone who does not wish, but decides. You don't need to fake confidence. You need to build it, through discipline, through effort, through proving to yourself that you're stronger than your hesitation. The voice in your head that says you can't, it isn't yours. It's a ghost of your past, a shadow of your conditioning, and every time you listen to it, you give it power. But every time you act anyway, you take that power back. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the rejection of control by fear. You don't wait to become fearless, you become free by refusing to bow to fear's voice. You act, you move, you rise, despite the doubt. You cannot escape yourself, so you might as well build someone you're proud to live with. Someone who shows up even when it's hard. Someone who keeps promises made in silence. That's what changes a life. Not luck, not breaks, but the quiet decision to stop running and start becoming. When you meet resistance, it's not proof to stop, it's proof to continue. That's the sign you're growing. That's the sign you're walking a path most never will. The world will never hand you belief. It's not earned through validation, it's earned through choosing to trust yourself before there's proof. You lead yourself first, you become the evidence. You become the reason. Everything begins and ends with the person you decide to be when no one's watching. And right now, that decision is yours. No one else's. You versus you. The old identity or the future you deserve. Choose the one who moves. Choose the one who dares. Choose the one who doesn't quit. That's who you really are. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become despite it. Life has tried to write your story in permanent ink, defeat, failure, fear, but the truth is you still hold the pen. Every moment is a blank page and every thought is a choice. If you keep rereading the same chapter of pain, regret, or doubt, you'll never write the one where you rise. You must interrupt your own pattern. Stop repeating the lies your lower self wants you to believe. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not stuck. You are just waiting for permission you already have. Waiting is the slowest form of self-abandonment. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for the fear to pass. Waiting for someone else to believe first. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to move. Not because you're ready, but because you're willing. Willing to fall, willing to fail, willing to rise again. That's what separates the lost from the legendary. Not skill, not circumstances, just the simple, raw, relentless decision to try again when it hurts, to breathe when it's heavy, to rise when you're tired. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start. Clarity comes through action. Power is built through repetition. You were never meant to live your life apologizing for your dreams. You were meant to take up space. You were meant to walk with a fire that scares your old self, and that fire, that version of you, is already inside. It's just buried under years of fear, doubt, and hesitation. But the moment you act with intention, the fire grows. The more you commit, the brighter it burns. Your next level is not waiting in a book, a course, or a comfort zone. It's buried in the parts of you you've ignored, the discipline you've avoided, the habits you've postponed, the decisions you've delayed. Everything you're looking for is already within you, not in the future, not in a version of you 10 years from now, but in the decision you make today, the decision to stop settling for potential and start demanding results. You owe it to yourself to stop rehearsing defeat and start living victory. The world doesn't need another person who's just surviving. It needs someone fully alive, fully present, fully engaged. That person is already inside you, waiting for you to step out of your excuses and into your truth. So when fear rises, when doubt screams, when the urge to shrink pulls you back, remember, you've been here before, and you survived. You got through moments that should have broken you, and yet you're still here, stronger, wiser, hungrier. Now take that pain, take that past, take that fire, and use it, not to burn down who you are, but to build who you're meant to be. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be powerful. Not later. Now. You've carried the weight of your past for too long, and now it's time to put it down. Not because it didn't matter, not because it didn't hurt, but because it's no longer helping you. The voice inside you that says you can't, you're not enough, you've failed too many times. That voice is not the truth. It's a leftover echo from a version of you that didn't know better. But now, you do. You know that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing. choosing not to be ruled by the version of you that was just trying to survive, choosing to lead with strength, not scars. You are allowed to leave behind the story you were told to live and write your own. You are allowed to stop proving your worth to people who were never capable of seeing it. You are allowed to stop earning your place in rooms that don't even deserve you. Your value isn't tied to what you do for others, how much you achieve, or how little space you take up. Your value is non-negotiable, unshakable, unbreakable. And once you own it, truly own it, the game changes. You stop begging for validation. You stop chasing approval. You stop shrinking to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. Everything changes the moment you decide you are enough. Not when you reach your goal, not when you look a certain way or have what others do, right now, as you are. Because power doesn't come from pretending to be perfect. It comes from embracing your imperfections with boldness. It comes from showing up raw, real, and ready to grow. Growth isn't glamorous. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. But it's always worth it. Because every time you choose growth over comfort, you reclaim your life inch by inch. Every time you say no to who you were and yes to who you're becoming, you rise. And that rise, it's not loud. It's not flashy. It's quiet, disciplined, and deeply personal. It happens when no one's watching. When you get up early to train your mind. When you walk away from what no longer serves you. When you say no to temporary comfort for the sake of long-term strength. This is how you build the life that calls to you. Not by hoping, not by waiting, but by becoming. By refusing to stay asleep in a world that's designed to keep you numb. By waking up to the power you've had all along. This is not about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to keep going while still feeling fear. It's about letting the fire inside of you burn louder than the doubt that tries to quiet it. You are not here to fit in. You are here to break through. And that breakthrough won't come from outside. It will come the second you believe without apology that you were built for more, because you were. And now's the time to prove it, not to them but to yourself. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need the world to agree with your decision to change. You don't need everyone to understand your vision or believe in your dream. What you need is your own belief. What you need is the decision to stop asking for signs and start becoming one. The world doesn't owe you clarity. It's waiting for your commitment. The kind of commitment that moves in silence, that works in the dark, that doesn't care about applause because the reward is becoming who you were born to be. And that version of you, the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't fear, is already inside you, waiting for you to let go of the doubt. You are not weak for being tired. You are not broken because you've stumbled. What matters is that you're still here, still breathing, still fighting. And if you're fighting, it means you haven't quit. That matters. That means something. Every single day you wake up and choose to keep going, you're winning battles no one even sees. You're showing yourself what resilience really is. And that matters more than temporary motivation. Because this isn't about hype. This is about transformation. It's about building a mind that doesn't crumble when life hits hard. It's about becoming so rooted in who you are that no failure, no rejection, no delay can make you doubt your path. Growth doesn't feel like winning. It feels like breaking. It feels like questioning everything. But the ones who rise are the ones who don't confuse discomfort with defeat. The ones who learn to sit with the pain and ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That shift, right there, is power. That shift changes everything. Because you're not just reacting anymore. You're choosing. You're responding. You're leading yourself instead of being led by fear. And leadership starts inside. The moment you lead your thoughts instead of following them, you take back control. No one can fight this battle for you. And the truth is, no one should. This is yours to win. And that's not something to fear. That's something to honor. Because when you rise from your own pain, you rise with strength no one can give you. You rise with a power that's earned. You rise with a truth that doesn't shake. And that truth is this: you were always enough, even when you doubted, even when you broke, even when you lost your way. You were never lost, you were just learning how to walk in your own direction. So now, you don't shrink, you don't wait, you don't negotiate with your potential. You move, you act, you become. Because the life you want isn't a fantasy, it's a reflection of who you're willing to become today. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Today, right now, this moment is yours, this breath is yours. Use it. Stand up. Show up. Begin again. Not because it's easy, but because you finally understand it's worth it.